Okay, we're about to get started here. Good morning, everyone, from wherever you're joining from. We will start any moment from now. Welcome, welcome. All right. Thank you for joining this live session. And it's just about time for us to get started. Just so I know where you're joining from, just put in the chat what university you're joining from. To all of our students and for the early career professionals, I'd like to know how long you've been in the workforce. Is it a year or two? Put it in the chat just so I know. Okay, today we're talking about the Clarity Map system, and this session is dedicated to students and early career professionals. Of course, others are welcome to be part of this, but this course, I'm sure it's gonna be of immense value to you. Okay, just a brief intro about who I am. First of all, I'm not a financial guru, so let's get that out of the way. I don't have a finance degree, and I'm not here to sell you anything. I do have a background in mechanical and industrial systems engineering and project management. So what this means is I know a thing or two about building systems and the critical need for clarity before you build anything. And our money is not different. So you can't manage what you haven't designed. And it's important to also know that you can't multiply what you don't understand. You can't sustain what has no system behind it. So system is what keeps your finance going. And today we're going to work on setting that up. Again, I am not here as an expert to tell you what to do. I'll leave that to your financial advisor. I'm here as someone who has studied the blueprints, and I want to hand it to you early in life. Most students graduate believing that the moment they start earning an income, life becomes easier for them. But the truth is, many graduates stay broke for the first 10 years of their career. They live from paycheck to paycheck or with uncertainty with things around their income. And here's the reality that often stare graduates in the face, and you might not know about it until you come face to face with them. Even though your income increases, what happens is there's lifestyle inflation. Your spending increases faster. A bigger salary without a system means bigger problems. And school didn't teach us these things. Oftentimes, we go to school, study the sciences, the arts, but we're not taught the nitty gritties of how money works in the university. So you graduate with a degree, but you have zero financial framework. And it's often too late in life or much later in life where or when people learn this the painful way. So you don't have to be one of them. And I'm glad you're able to join this session. So today I'll show you the exact system I use. I called this the clarity map. It's a framework to make sure your money has direction. So by the end of this session, you will know what money actually is and why your relationship with it matters more than the amount. So it's not in the amount you have, but the relationship you have with your money, telling your money where it should go. At the end of this session as well, I want you to be able to know why you actually want money. Because if you don't know the purpose of something, then there's a tendency you'll abuse it. Your why will keep you going when the going gets tough. So it's important for you to understand why. Why do you want money? And then we'll get into the framework. How you make money, how you manage, and multiply it with the right mindset. So we'll be taking some practical and actionable steps here. So I hope you have your pen and your notepad. So what is money? Money is a tool, and it's neither good nor bad. Just like a hammer, you can build a house with it or you can break a window with it. So money works the same way. So the impact of money depends entirely on the hands that is holding it. So if you use your money wisely, then some people might think, oh, this money is good. But if you don't use it well, it can cause chaos with your money. So it's just a tool. Money is neutral. In today's world, we see money as a medium of exchange. So unlike in the olden era where people do trade by barter, so it's a simple tool society has created for us to exchange value. Money amplifies character. So it doesn't make you generous or greedy. It just reveals and amplifies who you already are. And the third thing about money is money buys options, not happiness. So money gives you time. If you have sufficient of it, it gives you option. And when you have option, with option comes freedom. And for me, that's one of the things I'm excited about when I think about money. The freedom that comes with money. It's interesting today, just thinking about this session, I ran into this post from Dan Martell. Very interesting personality I like to listen to. And here's some of the perspective on money it talked about. It talked about money buys time, time gives you options, and that option gives you freedom. It talks about the idea that every dollar you'll ever make will come from someone you've helped. So if you've given value to someone, there's a chance that people will pay you for that value. Whether it's an employer-employee relationship or you sell something to someone, it comes from someone you have helped one way or the other. Also, he talked about this idea that if you make 1 million a year, that's cool, but you can make 1 million in a year. How about your time, your health, and your family? Do you still have them intact? So that's important. When you try to get money, you have to think about those around you, think about your health as well. And the more hands you shake, the more money you make. Uh, we'll get deeper into that when we talk about value. So Money is just a tool. The question is, what are you building? What are you building? And as we get deeper into the conversation, there's some myths that people believe about money. And I'll just like to share three of them. The first one is I need a lot of money to start saving or investing. Well, that's not true. You don't need a lot of money. You just need the right habits and consistency. So if you save 200 naira every day for about a year, you have around 72,000 naira. So you don't need a lot, you just need consistency. Start small. That's why it's a system. You start small, you see the result over time. The second myth around money is I'll sort out my finances when I get a real job. Well, your habits, not your income, determine your wealth. So it doesn't matter if you make 50,000 naira, 500,000 naira, 5 million naira. Sometimes people that make the least money actually out their their net worth outlast the person who earns more than they do. So your financial habits in university are the blueprint for your financial future. So how you handle money right now in the university or as you are an early career professional to determine how much you're handling your money later in life. The third thing is wanting money is greedy or unspiritual. Well, that's not true. Money is just a tool, it is neutral. So, greed is a character issue, not a money issue. So, you can love people, pursue wealth. In fact, the more resources you are able to steward well, the more people you can serve and impact. And this is really important. I believe myself to be a child of God. So, talking about money doesn't make me less spiritual. I have my little one in the background crying. I apologize for that. Okay, so before we get deeper into the conversation, we also need to understand the why, as I had introduced to us earlier. Before systems, before strategies, before any of these, you need to answer one question. Why do you want more money? Or why do you want money? Because when school fees aren't paid, when your business fails, when people laugh at your side also, your why is the only thing that will keep you going. So you need to define your why. I need you to take some time, pause, and write. Why do you want money? Because if you don't have a strong why, you get discouraged in the tough time. If you don't understand your why, you can do anything, including illegal things, to get money. So here are some common whys. Some people want to retire their parents so that their parents don't have to worry about money again. There's some people that don't want to get out of bed at 5 a.m. Some people want to build a school in their community or fund a cause that they believe in. And these are some of the whys that will be able to let you go above obstacles. There's some other whys. I want to have to choose between I don't want to have to choose between my health and my rent. That could be somebody else's why. And there are some other whys, some other type of whys. I want to be rich, I want to be comfortable, but you need to choose your why and you need to choose your deeper why. And my encouragement for you is to write your why down. Go to it from time to time. Reflect on your whys so that when you get into those rough patches, you can keep going. Another thing to talk about is what's your definition of enough, right? This might be the most important question in this entire session. Because if you don't define enough, you never feel it, no matter how much you have. So it's important for you to define your enough. Define your enough. If you've ever thought of it, can you put in the chat session? How much is enough for you? How much is your definition of enough? How much is your definition of enough? Yeah. How much is your definition of enough? Put it in the chat session. Have you ever thought about it? How much is your definition of enough? How much is your definition of enough? See what people are putting here in the chat. How much is your definition of enough? Because without a definition of enough, you will always feel behind, no matter what your income is. So even if you have 500,000 naira per month or 5 million naira per month, you'll always feel behind. You will compare yourself to everyone and feel poor. You will chase money past the point where it's even able to help you. So I see here in the chat session, someone says, have a lot. What's your definition of have a lot? That's some interesting responses there. Because if you don't have your definition of enough, you will sacrifice your health, your relationships with your loved ones, and peace for a number that keeps moving. The goalpost keeps moving. Now we can see that in today's world. But when you have your definition in mind, your number in mind, it helps you live life with peace. It helps you live life at your own pace. You are not competing with someone else. So some of the things to help you define that number is, what's your monthly income? So what monthly income would make you feel genuinely secure? So you have to track your expenses. What are your basic expenses? What are those expenses you make in a month? What does my due day look like and what does it cost? So you need to think about some of these numbers, put numbers in your notebook. That's why I asked to come with your pen and your notebook. Then what level of savings would let you sleep at night? So you need to put down a number. What am I willing to not sacrifice, no matter how much money is on the table? For me, I'm not willing to sacrifice my family. Family is more important than money. My relationship with God is more important than money. So enough is not a small number. It has to be a clear number. So you need to define it and then you design towards it and enjoy the journey. As I mentioned, come from an engineering and project management background. We most times apply this principle where we work backwards, we reverse engineer things. So that could be a useful idea to apply over here. So you need to get your numbers. I'll give you an exercise I did a couple of months ago to arrive at my own numbers. I looked at my monthly expense. I multiplied it by 12. That's the number of months in a year. I multiplied it by the potential number of years I hope to work. Then I was able to get my figure adjusted for inflation and all those things. So take a pause, get your numbers, and yeah, let's keep going. So this is something I wish I knew 17 years ago. And that's one of the reasons I'm interested in passing this message to younger ones who are just in the university or about leaving university or just starting out in your careers. So I wish I knew this 17 years ago when I left the university. So it's not about the amounts. If there's anything you've learned so far, it's about the pattern. I want you to type it in the chat. It's not about the amounts. It's about the pattern. It's not about the amounts. It's about the pattern. So your journey to financial freedom, let's get started on that. We've talked about what money is. We've talked about why. Why do you want money? And then your definition of enough. So let's get into getting your map in place. And there's this first thing to think about is the stewardship mindset, because you build a strong foundation for financial success. As a steward, you realize that you don't own anything. You are just in care of it. So when you see money like that, it helps you manage it well. You're just managing well. You're stewarding it well. You give an account for it. So having the right mindset, the proper mindset, goes a long way in building a solid foundation about money. And then one of the things to think about as a steward is that you need to be intentional about your money. You need to be intentional about your money. If you don't have intentionality, then you just get carried away about any and everything. But when you're intentional about it, you have a map. Imagine you're traveling from a place to another place using your map. Irrespective of what's going on around you, you're going to follow that map. And that's what's expected of a steward. You need to use your map. Make sure you follow your map with intentionality. And then we'll talk about making money. There's a million ways out there to make money. So we'll talk about strategies to increase your income. And then when you make money, what do? You manage it. You manage it. Effective budgeting and spending habits. Yes, I see someone post here. It's not about the amount, it's about the pattern. Yes, good morning to you. I'm glad you're here as well. Glad you're here. See, Shitu Mudupeola 2926. Yeah, glad to have you here. The other piece of your map is multiply. Multiply. You just can't save your way to wealth. You can't save your way to wealth. You have to multiply. Investment and wealth creation techniques, we'll talk about that here. And again, back to your mindset, your producer mindset. You have to shift from consumer to value creator. Our society has raised us up to be consumers. We consume, consume, consume. We don't produce things. Those people who are financially sound, they have a producer mindset. See the likes of Elon Musk. The value he brings comes from producing. And that's why he solves big problem, he makes big money. So what value are you creating? So the goal and My desire for you is you don't have to fix everything at once. No, that's not the goal here. I want you to take 30 days just to follow these steps and implement these strategies we're going to talk about. You're going to develop the right mindset. You're going to have a plan for making your money, a plan for managing it, a plan to multiply it. After 30 days, you review again and see. So you need to create a baseline from where you started today and where you are in 30 days' time. So manage what you have, not what you wish for. So you can start with whatever you have now. You don't need to wait till you have 500,000 or 5 million before you start. So let's get to the first one, the first part, and have a reference here for you that you already have a stick or a stone in your hand. Remembering the story of David. He had a stone in his hand when he was facing Goliath, and Moses had a stick. Every one of us has a skill that we can use to make money. Every one of us. We have something. When God created us, He deposited something into each and every one of us. Some people realize it quickly and begin to action it. Some it takes a while, but God has not created anybody empty. So, like I said before, there's a million ways out there to make money. And the stewardship loop is a continuous journey. It is not something that you just do once and think you have arrived. No, it's a continuous journey. So once you receive from your making, you get an income. Of course, acknowledge it, appreciate the resource you are given. It's important to appreciate whatever you have. So it doesn't have to be a lot. Appreciate what you have. That's the right mindset. Then you manage whatever you have, you multiply it, you grow it using different strategies, legal strategies, and then keep track of it because you are a steward. You are a steward. You have to keep track of it. You don't waste it. Because you have made money doesn't mean you should use it anyhow. And that's why you see some people you hear they won the lottery and they were broke again. So that's not good stewardship. So the other mindset shift is avoid excuses. You don't blame your parents. You don't blame the government. You blame no one. Because when you give excuses, you are just shifting the blame. But when you take responsibility, you are taking control. So, irrespective of where you are in your financial journey, I don't want you to blame anyone. I want you to take ownership. I want you to take responsibility of where you are now. Because if you blame someone that, oh, it's because of this person or this situation that I'm where I am now, you won't make progress. You won't make progress. But when you take control, you take ownership as a steward, then you have the power to make changes. So let's take some time to reflect. Like I said, this session is not just to inform you. I want you to take practical steps. Let's take some moments to reflect on what's in our hands so that we can make money, right? Let's reflect. Let's start with time. What hours do you have available each week? What hours do you have available to you each week? Think about as a student, I know you have to go to class, you have to go to the library or read your books and all those things outside of your sleep schedule? What hours do you have available to you each week? And if you are an early career professional, outside of your regular work hours, how many, how many hours do you have available? Excuse me. How many hours do you have available to you? So you've done your daily tasks, and of course remove your sleeping, your commute time. How many hours do you have? Then how do you currently spend your time? How do you currently spend your time? The goal here is you want to optimize your schedule. You want to optimize your schedule. For me, when I did this exercise, I realized I spend a lot of time on social media, consuming things that did not give me value. At some point, I had to pack my TV up. My family made that decision to pack our TV up. We watch our TV, I think, once in a week after we made that decision. Even right now, I can't remember the last time we turned on our TV. So sometimes you have to make that radical choice. The time you're supposed to be using to make money, to make something or build something, don't use it to watch TV. I remember when I was a student then, I watched season film. Time I'm supposed to be using to build value, I'm watching season film. I'm not saying it's not good to have rest once in a while, but it should not be the core of your time. Now let's evaluate our money. Again, we are trying to see what's in our hands. What's the stick and stone we have in our hands? How much do you earn or receive? So if you're a student, you likely receive allowance, or if you sponsor yourself, maybe you're doing some business of some sort. How much do you earn or receive? Write it down. Write it down. And if you're an early career professional, how much are you earning? How much is your salary? If you have your own business, how much average do you make in a month? Then what's your current expense? So these are things you need to note down. You might have to go to your bank statement to go and see what these numbers are. I'll leave this on the screen for you. You can write it down. What financial resources are available to you? What financial resources are available to you? Do you have some family funds that has been made available to you? Or do you have none of those? Write it down. Then think about yourself, your skills, what talents, abilities, and knowledge do you possess? Like I said, God has not created anyone empty. There's something about you, something unique, some knowledge, some experience that you have passed through. And that experience is unique to you. Even though it might be similar to someone else, that experience is unique to you. And people around you might tell you those skills might be. If you can't identify it yourself, sometimes people will point it out to you. Then what new skill can you acquire or develop? What new skill can you acquire or develop? So I want you to put all these things down. The goal is for you to find your stick or your stone. so you can use it, so you can make your money with it. Okay, so what the goal of this exercise gives you awareness. It helps you to know, it helps you to see where some gaps are, it helps you to see where your strengths are, and then you can leverage this in your journey. So in your map, you should be getting clarity on your M. Should be getting clarity on your M. Now, when you want to make money with all these things that you have identified, you solve problems. Solve problems, and money will follow you. You don't chase the money. When you solve problems, oftentimes money follow. And that's going to lead us to this concept of the value creation quadrants. The value creation quadrants. So this illustrates how value is created by identifying a need. When there's a problem and you apply a skill, so from those things you've identified with your stick or your stone, you see a need and you apply it there, you create value. And when that exchange happens, usually money follows. See the likes of Dangote in Nigeria, he refines petrol, sells cement, and the guy makes money because we need cement to build our house for construction. We need a fuel for our cars and for our generators and co. So that's a need that he is feeling. He's giving us value, and in exchange, we give him money. So the thing is, Dangote is able to solve a lot of problems and solve bigger problems. So he's able to get a lot of money. So that's how money works. The more value you can create, the more money comes to you. In fact, you don't need to even chase money. Just look for problems to solve. And the bigger the problem you solve, usually the bigger money you make. Also, the more problems you're able to solve, the more money you can make. So that's the value creation quadrant. So I want you to think from today, when you see problems, instead of complaining about them, how can I solve this problem? And then monetize it. So I'll give you an example as students or early career people. You can start tutoring. Some of you are skilled. You're strong in some subjects. So you could be teaching younger people in your school or people in your junior classes. And some of you you're good with cooking. Could sell some snacks. And then some of you are good, you have digital skills, writing graphics. You can monetize these skills online. Nowadays, the world is global. You can monetize your skills even on campus. You don't need to wait till you get out of the university before you start thinking about making money. For me, one of the challenge I had was I was privileged to get sponsored by my parents. I got allowance, so because of that, I'm like, okay, I'll just go to school, graduate, I will look for a job. Nah, that should not be your mindset. Even though you might get support from home, you should still think about how you can do something in school, because you begin to build this muscle right from when you're in the university. You need to build this muscle of monetizing your skill. So you can begin to develop a skill or use an existing skill to make money for yourself. I realized this too late until like I think my fourth year in the university before I was able to get into the first business I did. However, there's a caveat to this. There's a caveat to this beyond the hourly grind. Because some of the examples I mentioned earlier, you are exchanging your time for money, which is necessary as a starting point. You are exchanging your time for your money. But remember that your time, your energy, and your presence is finite. So, this should not be your final destination. Exchanging your time for money should not be your final destination. Exchanging your energy and presence for money should not be your final destination, because those ones I mentioned above, you're exchanging your time, you're exchanging your energy and presence. Or if you are a worker now, you're exchanging your time for money with your employer. I'm not saying that is bad. In fact, I still have a 9 to 5 job, but that should not be your destination. You need systems that can make money without you. I repeat, exchanging your time for money is not bad, at least for a start. But you need to strategically build enduring financial pipelines. So these pipelines will generate income independent of you. You don't need to be there, but your money system that you put in place will keep generating. So this allows you to scale your impact and secure your future, because you've set up the system once and for all, and it keeps replicating. Look at it this way. When you go to work, at the end of the month, you get paid. And that's it. If you don't go to work, you don't get paid. But there are some things that you do. You just need to do it once, and then you get paid, you get paid, you get paid over and over again. Those are the kind of things you should aim for. Look at some of these artists. They only need to do the work once to write the song and compose the song, but yet they get paid over and over and over again in royalties, in people using their songs, or authors. They need to write the book just once, and then they get paid over and over again. That's the kind of systems you need to be thinking about. So you need to build that income system. So you need to transition from actively trading time for money to building a system that generates income independently. So this is key to your financial freedom. And I've given some example around the artists that sing or the authors that write books. You can create digital products, maybe a software. If you are a computer person, create a software, because when people use your software, you just need to create it just once. That's why we see companies like Microsoft. They just need to create some of this software once and maybe release updates every once in a while. But millions of people around the world use those softwares. And right now, software is subscription based. You have to pay like every month for most of them. But the people that built them just once. Compared to working as an employee or in a situation where you have to go to make money, your presence is needed there. Again, it's not a bad place to start, but it should not be your destination. So you can start off with exchanging your time or your presence for money, but it should not be the destination. So while you are at that, you can be building your money system. The next piece is automated online businesses. So you can set up ventures that leverage technology to run with reduced manual inputs. You can do things for people that reduce their manual labor. People are willing to pay for that. And then, of course, the other piece is the financial instruments. That's strategic investment. So you put your money to work for you through various investment vehicles. So this could be your stocks, your dividend paying assets, or fractional real estate investment. So these are strategic ways to let your money work for you. So while you are sleeping, your money is working hard. So let your money work hard for you. Let your money work hard for you. So let's do a mini exercise here again. Let's do a mini exercise. So if you've been able to identify your skill, think of problems around you, and that's an opportunity for you to make money. So you can use these unique abilities you have, can turn them into solutions that create value. And remember what we said before, value is followed by money. When you give value, people give you money oftentimes. So think about a skill you possess and a problem you've identified. So going forward, that's what you should think, how you should think. Think about problems. Then, okay, what skills do you have? So what are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? So this is your own unique contribution. And like I said before, you might need to go and learn some skill or some new skill. Then what challenge or met needs do you see around you? What could be improved? So you don't need to come up with something new. You could think about a better way. You could come up with a better way of doing something. And that is valuable. Like some of the softwares around us now they came from a better way of how we solved problems in the past. So you don't need to come up with something unique like that is entirely new. Of course, that's also possible. But you can even look at the things around you. How can you improve these things around you? So when your skill address a problem, that's where value and potential earnings emerge. So when skill meets problem, there's an opportunity to make money. So I want you to reflect, and going forward, look at the problems around you, look at the skills you have, and see the opportunities you can get. So stop asking, how do I get money? But ask, whose problem can I solve? Remember, the more problems you can solve, the more money you can make. So money is a result, it's not a goal. So when you give people value, oftentimes money will come uh, afterwards. Your income is not your wealth. So fact that you're making 500,000 naira every month doesn't mean you are wealthy. Okay, we gave that illustration before. Okay, now you've made money, you need to manage it. And here's just a simple budgeting tip for you. Again, you don't have to use this percentage. So here it's it's up to you, depending on your life situation, on how much you are allocating. Okay, it's up to you. So you can have 80% for your spending, 10% for your savings, and then 10% for flexibility. So in case of emergency or something happens, you are not caught unawares. And for some people, you can, maybe it's 90% you can do. You spend 90% depending on your life situation, and then you save 5% for future needs, and then 5% just in case something happens and you don't want to get caught unprepared for those kind of things. The goal is to start. Start, however small you want to. So you don't have to use 60, 20, 20. If you are able to, if you don't have a lot of responsibility, go for it. If you can save more, that's beautiful. But you should have something. You should have something, whether it's your 5, or maybe it's your 90%, your 5%, and your 5%. Whatever that percentage is, just make sure it is not zero. Make sure it is not zero. So you can spend 80% of your income when it comes, if that's what your life situation calls for. So that 80% takes care of all your expenses, all your needs. That's okay. And then you can save 10% for the future, and then the other 10% for uh, things that might come up. And you can even split that into even different categories, right? Instead of just keeping the 10% in savings, you can split it into, okay, depending on your life situation, you want to start investing as well. So that's really up to you. Those numbers are up to you, but make sure it is not zero. Make sure it is not zero. So an exercise I want you to do again is go to your account or reflect in the past 24 hours, the past 1 week, or the past 30 days. Where has your money been going to? Because when you know where your money is going to, it gives you control, right? If you are eating out 3 times in a day, maybe it's time for you to cut it down to 1 time in a day. If you are using your money to watch Premier League 3 matches in a weekend, maybe it's time to reduce it to 1. If you are buying 6 clothes in a month, maybe it's time to reduce it to 2. So take a look at your account. You need to plug those leaks, because if you don't plug those leaks, your money cannot grow. And then you wonder, where did your money go? So you need to evaluate, check where your money is going, because this gives you control. As a steward, you are supposed to send your money message. Your money is not supposed to go wherever it just wants to go. You need to send your money message. So what are some small steps you can take after you have plugged the leaks, after you've given yourself percentage? Like I said, it doesn't have to be big. Even if it's 200 naira in a day, if you save 200 naira in a day, that's 6,000 in a month. Times 12 months, that's 72,000 naira. That's better than zero. That is better than zero. And then if you compound this over a number of years, that's a lot of numbers. And that's why I am appealing, especially to the people who are young, because you have a long time. The earlier you start, the better for you. The earlier you start, the better for you. So start small. Start small. However small you can start small. But there are some common traps that you need to avoid. There are common traps that you need to avoid. Number one is impulsive buying. You don't plan for it. Just because you're going on the road and you see something and then it appeals to you, you buy it. Not because you need it. So this kind of buying often leads to regret and debt. Impulse buying. The next thing is peer pressure. You want to keep up with your friends, keep up with you want to buy the latest iPhones or the latest gadgets, and then you get into debt. What is that thing that your friends are having that you don't have? If it's not a need, you don't need to have it. And of course, the last one is no plan. But you are taking intentional steps by being here this morning. So that is something good because you are already creating your own roadmap. You are beginning to create your own roadmap to get you from where you are now to where you ought to be. So that is really good. You are creating a plan. So you are already ahead of some people. You have gotten out of that trap because I believe you are going to take action by applying the things you are learning this morning. So key takeaway here is direction beats amount. You don't need a huge sum of money to get started. Now, what you use is grows, but if you bury it, it dies. So it's time to multiply. It's time to multiply. And there are 3 ways I will give you this morning that you can multiply. So we have gotten to that part of your map that it's time to multiply whatever you have made. So you have made your money, you are managing it, then it's time to multiply it. Because you can't just keep your money in your savings account. Inflation will eat your money. So you need some sort of multiplication. So that part of the 10% that you kept, or maybe it's the 5% that you have kept for the future, you need to dedicate to some of them to multiplication. So you have your savings. Out of that savings, you can have your multiplication system as well. And then the other one that you kept for flexibility, that could be your what they call emergency funds. So in that your savings, you don't want to just keep everything. You want to multiply it. But first of all, you need to invest in yourself such that if you lose everything, you can start again, unbroken. And because you're young, be open to experimenting. And in fact, you will make mistakes. As investors, you will lose money, guaranteed. But if you invest in yourself intellectually, even if you lose, you know it is part of life. You know it is part of the money system. You continue. The likes of Warren Buffett, when I heard his numbers, as smart as he is as an investor, I heard his win rate is just 4%. But that 4%, when he wins, it takes care of the 96% he has lost. I need to verify those numbers. But I hear it doesn't need to win a lot of time. It just need to win 4%, but that 4% that he wins in the investment he makes are really huge. They cover for his losses. So how much someone like maybe myself, where I'm not really really that great in picking all those companies, but there are ways around it. You don't need to be Warren Buffett to succeed at investing. So you need to invest in yourself intellectually. You need to read books. You need to listen to things that will edify you. And then you need to invest financially. So we'll talk about that in module 4, which is in this next slide, which is why I said the likes of Warren Buffett. And then you need to invest socially, your network, because wealth is a team game. You are not competing with anyone, but you need a team to succeed. You can't run the race of wealth by yourself. Forget all those things where people say, oh, they want to be better than this person. No. If you want to excel, you need to work as a team. So you need to identify your team. You need to find trusted allies that you can go on this journey with. So, what is that financial piece that I talked about? For beginners, you can explore these safe options. So, like I said, you don't need to be a Warren Buffett who picks great companies and then makes extraordinary profits. You can do mutual funds. So, what's a mutual fund? So, a mutual fund, you pull money from many investors to invest in a diversified portfolio of stock, bonds, other securities. So you need a professional fund manager to help you manage this. So this is safer than you picking individual stocks, and it is great for beginners. So you need to go for a reputable financial manager to help you with this. So you are not doing it by yourself. You need someone who is reputable and trusted. Check, do your own due diligence in getting a professional to help you manage it. The other safe option is exchange traded funds. So exchange traded funds are similar to mutual funds, but they trade on the stock exchange just like stocks. So this one, it is not managed by fund managers. So an exchange traded fund is a combination of companies. So Coca-Cola is a company. They have their own stock. You have Dangote is a company. Dangote Sugar is a company. He has his own stock. So those are individual stocks. But now you can have an exchange traded fund that combines different companies like Stanbic ETF 30. That's an ETF in Nigeria. It's it's a combination of 30 strong companies in Nigeria. So if a company is not doing well, the fund owners automatically kick them out and replace them with another company. So at every time, they always have 30 companies in that ETF. That Stanbic 30 ETF as an example. Some other example could be ETFs that focus on technology. So you will see maybe companies like, what example can I give? QQQ. So that's another type of ETF where they focus on technology. So most of the companies you find there, they are technology driven. There are some ETFs that are focused on developing countries. So they invest in companies that are in developing countries. There are some ETFs that the companies inside that basket, they are focused on, say, health. So you need to uh, uh, research and pick the ETF that works for you. But these are great for beginners because they are safer. So you don't need to go and be picking individual stocks by yourself. You already have uh, you already have the combination of different companies in that basket. And then, of course, the other safe option is government bonds and treasury bills. So this is where you lend money to the government. And this is safe because government will usually pay back, but the returns are low for these ones. But the thing with also ETFs, I forgot to mention, depending on the type of ETF, some of them are more riskier, but the returns are higher. So you need to contact your financial advisor, or you need to go and read by yourself. Do your own due diligence. But these are ways you can multiply your money. So don't just keep your money in savings account. It's just going to be there, and inflation will destroy your money. But you need to also have savings. It's just that you are not keeping all your money in savings. The reason why you need to have savings is because of emergency. You don't want to put all your money in investment, and then when you need money, you want to withdraw your money. No. When you put money in your investments, you keep it there for the long term. It is not for withdrawal. You keep your money there you invest for the long term. It's not to withdraw it and go and buy the latest iPhone. No, that's not the purpose of investment. That's not the purpose of investment. You invest in something you believe in, that works well. And for those who are risk takers, like I said, if you are young, why not take the risk? You can research how to pick stocks. For example, good things that qualify as a stock, like the things you use every day, right? The things you use every day, like you use your mobile phone, you need to pay for data. So instead of just giving the company money, invest in the company. These companies have stock you can invest in. So as you are using the data or their airtime, you are also beneficiary of the dividend when the company is paying dividend. So that's how to be an investor and how to pick a good investment. So the everyday things around you can actually be something you can invest in. The things you use, your your phone, the banks you use. Some of these banks have stocks, and you can invest in them. So that's that about the financial one. You might need to talk to a financial advisor to help you with some of those decisions. And then I talked about the intellectual multiplication. So you need to invest in books, immerse yourself in literature. Of course, it's okay to read nonfiction, but you also need to balance them with educational materials because it helps you broaden your perspective and understanding. Like I said at the beginning, I'm not a financial guru, but some of the things I have gotten that has gotten me here is from books and mentors. So you need to seek guidance from experienced individuals who can share their insights, who can offer advice, and they can help you navigate your personal and professional journey. You can't do this alone. You need mentors. You need someone who can help you shorten your learning curve. If you have a mentor, put it in the chat. Say yes. Type yes if you have a mentor. And if you don't have mentor, it's time to start thinking about getting one. Not just for money, even for your professional life, right? If you have a mentor, put it in the chat. Type yes if you have a mentor. So books, mentors, and then courses. Enroll in structured learning program, online or in person. Technology has made it easy now that you can enroll in some good courses online so that you can acquire new skills or deepen your existing knowledge. And the good thing is you can see some of these things on YouTube. You don't even have to pay for them. You just need to use data and your time. So instead of watching random things on YouTube or on social media, invest in yourself intellectually so that you can broaden your horizon. And even if things go wrong, you can quickly pick yourself up. And then I talked about relationships. Relationships gives you opportunities. I remember the first 3 jobs I had in my career. They were based on people I know who introduced me. Oh, We have an opening here, apply, and all those things. Of course, I'm not saying that's how it's going to always be, but you can't do life alone. You can't do life alone. You need to have good relationships. Not because you want to use people, but that's how God has created us. We are relational humans. And when you nurture good relationships, opportunities come your way because someone will think of you. Oh, this guy is skilled in this thing. Come and do this for me. So that's one of the importance of relationships. So we're going to reflect again. We're going to reflect again. We're going to write down which area will you grow first. So I need you to be intentional. You can't act on all of the three at once. You can't act on all of the three at once. So which one are you picking first? And then you need to create your plan around it. So if you're working on your financial growth, you need to create a safe investment option for yourself. Consider a safe investment option for yourself. You can talk to a financial advisor if need be, but do your own research. Do your own research. Don't just trust because someone said you should do this or put money into this. You are putting money into it. And then you think about new investment or new income streams you can have. Income streams where you don't have to be there forever. You don't have to exchange your time for money forever. And if it's intellectual growth, what books are you going to read? Make a plan for yourself. I have some recommended reading by the end of this session that I'm going to share with you. Then social growth. Start planning to expand your network, your connections, or collaborative efforts. You can't do this by yourself. You can't do this by yourself. Okay. At the end of that exercise, I need to remind you that focus is key. Pick your course and stay the course. Because if you keep chasing every new idea, it can lead to distraction and stagnation. And my own journey has taught me the hard way because I was I was chasing everything. I want to do this. I have a million ideas flowing in my head. But the thing with unwavering focus on your choosing path, it helps you build true momentum. So you don't have to do everything that comes your way. Because with your map, you are focused. With your financial map that you've created, you have your system or structure for making money. You have your system or structure for managing money. And then you have your system or structure for multiplying money. It helps you stay focused. One of the ways to also succeed is consumption gives you pleasure, production gives purpose. So have that production mindset, not the consumer mindset. So think about what you can produce, what value you can give, what problem you can solve, not what you can spend your money on. Then you have an advantage now as a student, or even for the early career ones. You don't have, I assume, you've you've not had lots of responsibility because as you grow older, responsibility will come. Now you have time, you have access, and that's more possibilities for you. You can afford to make mistakes quickly, get back on your feet, and continue. Unlike some people much more later in life, they can't afford to make mistakes. Mistakes is going to break them. There's some mistakes that's going to break them. but now you are young. If you lose money, you can quickly bounce back and all those things. So this is a unique time for you as student and early career people because you can experiment. You have room to experiment and fail safely. And then the campus gives you access. You have access to a lot of peers. Like the first business I ran as in the university, my colleagues were my first customers because over 4 years they know me. You've built credibility. You know people can give you their money because they know you can't run away. Things like that. That's a unique access you have, and then possibilities. You don't have to wake up 5 a.m. going to work and come back 9 p.m. and all those kind of things. So these are unique. This is a unique time in your life where you combine time and the access. It unlocks immense potential for income. It unlocks immense potential for impact as well and personal growth because you can commit to grow yourself, read a book, do courses outside of the school curriculum. Okay, and I'll keep going here. Some checklists, things to avoid: mindless consumption of content without a clear purpose. I said I used to watch season film endlessly as a student. That was a consumer mentality. Just consume random things that does not give value, and avoid impulsive spending. Avoid impulsive purchases due to emotion or because other people around you are doing it. Because with your map, you are focused, you are not distracted. And then avoid complaining because focusing on dissatisfaction and problems without seeking a solution or taking constructive action, it derails you from your journey. You don't want to complain. You have to be optimistic in your journey. You have to trust the process. You have to trust the process. So, as a producer, what is your action plan? You ask yourself, what will I create? Who will benefit? When will I start? So, you have the time advantage now. If you fail, you can get up quickly and try again. So, this is the producer action plan. What can you produce? What can you produce? Because as a producer, you are multiplying. You are not stuck in managing, you are also multiplying. So you have your action plan there as a producer. And now we have gone through the 4 critical areas. We've talked about your mindset, how to make money, how to manage money, and how to multiply money. So my challenge to you is to be the proof that this works. I have tried this and I am seeing results. And it's not because I am already there. I am on the journey, but I am already seeing results. I'm already seeing the result. But if you don't stick to the process, you will not see the results. So start where you are, use what you have. You are unique in your own way. You don't have to have a lot of money to get started. You don't have to have the biggest skills to get started. You have your stick, you have your stone. So, even as we wrap up the session, we're going to take some questions for sure. In your map, you are going to have that section where you bring value into existence through creation or effort. So, you need to have in your money map what is going to bring value. And then when you make money, you have to handle it effectively. And beyond just managing the money, it needs to multiply. So you need to grow your assets, your knowledge and network. And then you need to have the right mindset. You need to create tangible outcomes. and contribution to others. Okay, so even as we wrap up, my challenge to you is try this for 30 days. Implement this roadmap for 30 days and see. Implement this roadmap for 30 days. So you have your making challenge. So in the next 30 days, think of how you can make money. Think of how you can manage money, and then think of how you can multiply it. So for the savings one, I already gave you a framework of how it's gonna work. So track your income. This helps you to reduce the leak and save a certain amount. I'm just giving an example here. That's why I said 200 naira. And then produce one thing of value. If it fails, keep trying. Keep trying. So you need to make money in the next 30 days. You need to make something. And when you make that, you need to save some amount of it and then invest to multiply the other part of it. So that's the framework. It needs to keep going. So my encouragement again is you are not behind, you are becoming. It's a process. Focus on the process. The destination is not the goal. This is what gives you staying power in hard times, because hard times will come. Like, are you really doing the right thing? The stock market will fall sometimes, and then you don't get discouraged in those periods. So next step, apply what you've learned. So this is not just an information session. That's why I was asking you to reflect, write down. It is not just information. Apply what you've learned and teach one person. Explain to one person that this is what you've learned, this is what you are applying. Because when you apply and share what you've gained, that sticks. So empower someone else. Don't just keep the knowledge to yourself. Like I said, I'm enthusiastic about sharing this with students, and you don't just want to keep this to yourself if it's working for you. Try it, see if it works for you, share it with some other person else. So keep in touch. My name is Philip. You have my email over there. You have my phone number over there. You can text me. And yeah, if you have questions, feel free to contact me. Even as we continue this journey together, I've shared with you the financial clarity map system. My goal is to empower the next generation of stewards. Thank you for joining, and I hope you found this session insightful and empowering. And I look forward to seeing you apply these principles to achieve your own financial and personal goals. We're going to be having more live sessions in the future. This is the first one, and I'm glad you are part of it. And this is the books I said I was going to recommend for you: The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel and The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. You can follow my YouTube channel, The Stewards Cycle. That's where you are watching this stream from, for other videos I have made and the ones I will make. So any questions, put them in the chat. Let's take some questions for the next 8 minutes here, and then we will wrap up. Questions? Questions? Put your questions in the chat. Put your questions in the chat. Put your questions in the chat. I would take some questions. See if there are any questions in the chat. Looks like there are no questions. It appears everything is clear. Well, I will encourage you to, yeah, maybe leave your questions in the comments, and I am going to answer them. And I look forward to seeing you in the in the next live stream. Okay, thank you.